called Aeon, which we wrote with Andrew Pryor from Plymouth. And Aeon means birds in Gaelic, and it was adapted from a song, a piece that I wrote a long time ago called Birdsong. And it's in a modal scale, and we work quite a lot with modal scales and with different kinds of folk-orientated scales, kind of inspired by Gustav Holst and Ralph Vaughan Williams in the early part of the 20th century, who played a lot with modes, trying to find what they thought was the new English music. And we're now going to play an English folk song, our version of.
time we play that folk song, I never ever know where we're going to go on it, because John just suddenly goes off in the middle somewhere, and I'm hanging on to his coattails. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so lovely to play a tune like that here in the heart of Devon. You know, it's very nice. We've got a nice mix of folk tunes, some jazz tunes, some classical tunes for you tonight, and everything that you hear tonight, apart from the written music from Bach, is all arranged and improvised tonight, especially for you tonight, because every time we play the concert, we always change it. Change the order, change pieces, and everywhere in the middle of the piece, we have a beginning, we've got an end, but in the middle we don't know where we're going to go. So it's sort of live, it's really live, it's a really live performance, and we use the space, and we use the audience to bring us in and tell us where you'd like us to go, because we can feel it, and then hopefully we take you somewhere. So that's our sort of little mantra with the two violins. The next tune we'd like to play is a piece that we wrote at the very beginning of all the shenanigans. You basically could say sort of before we were all locked up in our houses. So, and it just happened by chance. We got together to rehearse in a cold church in Bristol. One of our friends turned up with a camera, and he had it rolling when we were rehearsing, and the rest is history. This is a lovely piece that we called Since Then. It was written before we went into lockdown, but we were thinking ahead, and it's called After the Lockdown. we believe. Yeah. We believe. piece we're going to jump to is Leipzig, 1783. We're going to go and see how Johann Sebastian Bach is doing, hopefully surviving all right with 16 kids. In the middle of all that, he wrote some wonderful music that we love and adore, and as part of the project that we have with our chords and modal sort of scales and things that we explore, we find that a lot of it is also based in classical music, which is what I grew up with as well as Irish folk. So I thought it'd be nice to put that in the programme for you tonight. And this is a bourrée from one of his suites.
next piece is dedicated to an Ashburtonian called Martin Shaw. Recently moved back into the town, but can't be here tonight, unfortunately. And it's called Wild Twin, and it's really about a book that he wrote a few years ago called Courting the Wild Twin. And Courting the Wild Twin is a book about finding our wildness, not only finding wildness in nature, but finding a wildness in ourselves. And his idea is that we have some twin somewhere that's our wild twin that we have to go and seek out and search down. And he frames his book by telling two stories, two ancient stories. One's called Tatterhood, and the other one's called The Lindworm. And both stories start with a king and a queen who are in charge of a kingdom that's functioning really well. Everyone's incredibly happy, very well fed. Everyone's got kids, except the king and the queen. And the king and the queen are very sad about this. And both stories, the queen goes to the end of her extensive garden and meets an old lady. And the old lady tells the queen that if she wants to have children, what she needs to do is the following dawn, wake up, and then she'll find underneath a plant pot a red flower and a white flower. Don't eat the red flower, eat the white flower, and your wishes will come true. So the queen in both stories goes back to her husband and says, how's the story? And the king goes, well, it's worth a go, isn't it? Really, let's give it a shot. So the following morning, in both stories, the queen goes to at dawn, goes to the end, underneath the plant pot. Sure enough, there are two flowers, one's red and one's white. And she can't help herself. She snaffles down the red flower. She's completely overcome. And then she thinks, well, I better eat the white one, and eats the white flower. Goes home, doesn't tell her husband what's happened. And there are consequences. And I'm not going to tell you what they are. But it's a brilliant book, and they're both fantastically unusual and brilliant stories about twins that emerge at birth. So this is called Wild Twin, dedicated to Martin Shaw and his thing. And now we're going to play some Miles Davis. So this is a track made famous by Miles Davis, written by Milt Jackson, the vibraphone player. It's a blues, and I kind of got to know it by listening to Nigel Kennedy's version, which was really excellent. There's an album where Nigel Kennedy plays with the pianist Peter Pettinger. Allegedly, they made a classical record together, and then we're in the studio and kind of jammed this out, and it's really great. So this is kind of Bag's Groove via Milt Jackson, Miles Davis, and Nigel Kennedy.
John.
And you. I used to busk in Cambridge, because I used to live near Cambridge when I was a boy, and used to play the solo violin outside of King's College, and the entire London Symphony Orchestra walked past me. You were in the London Symphony Orchestra.
I'm not that good.
19, at the end of my second year at university, I went to Ireland to meet some friends, eventually in Scotland. And when I was in Dublin, I walked along the road and I heard this folk music, and it was a violin sound that I'd never ever heard before. And it was Kevin Burke playing an album called Up Close. And he's got such a lilt about his playing. So I got this tape, it was a cassette, and learnt it. And this is my take on Kevin Burke's Boys of Valley Castle into the Stack of Barley.
So I'm not going to play a Kevin Burke tune, but I'm just going to go over where John was in Dublin, and we're going to go to Sligo. So we're right on the Atlantic, and this is a lovely slow melody which you'll know and recognise from movies, and it's been covered in advertisements, not to mention Simply Minds, the pop band. And this is a nice W.B. Yeats poem, and the melody is She Moves Through the Fair. And then if before I might play that one, because I might put the She Moves Through the Fair. No, what am I going to do? I want to do She Moves Through the Fair, and then Down by the Sally Gardens. I'll finish this down the Sally Gardens. I always get them mixed up, but hopefully this time I won't. You'll let me know, Joe.
two pieces that were written for a project commissioned by Exeter Library called Unlocking the Cage. And it was a project in collaboration with Kim Sherwood, the writer. And she went to the cage, which is underneath Exeter Library. It's the special and rare books collection. And there are 800 books dating back hundreds and hundreds of years. And only 8 of them were written by women, she found. And so she did a kind of essay about an investigation into these 8 women writers, none of whom are particularly well known, and also benefactors to the library, to find out about them and also to find out why they've kind of been marginalised and forgotten about largely. And we worked with Kim to put a project on in Exeter Library, and it was an augmented reality project. We had an iPad, we had a book commissioned, and the iPad kind of an illustrator to bring to life the book as you turned it, looking at it on a screen. And it's now touring Devon libraries. If you get a chance to look at it, it went to Exeter, then it went to Ivy Bridge, Crediton, it's now in Torrington. I'm not sure of its itinerary, but it's really, really something. And this first disc we're going to play is called Unlocking the Cage. It's the theme music to the project. And the music that we wrote had this kind of span from like 1780, from a writer called Elizabeth Montague, all the way to a benefactor called Lady Northcote, whom we'll talk about in a minute. So, Unlocking the Cage.
last piece, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of the evening. Your glasses need to be replenished. And thank you so much for coming tonight and for enjoying it. If you liked some of the music you heard tonight, we have a CD. And as soon as I put the fiddle down, I'll get a little sum up thing so it can technology could work. And if not, hopefully get a chance to have a chat with you at the bar. It's a nice tune. It's going back to the lady that we just were influenced by when we did the project in Devon. And it's called Lady Knockquart. Well, this is a tune from somewhere that's in the news at the moment, and not just Westminster. It's the Shetlands, because they got their internet and telephone lines cut off this morning. So this is a little tune called Willowford, and it's got a connection with Greenland. And both myself and John have a lovely story about this, because I really like this tune, but I was never ever sure which way it should go. And then he found a book, of course, and it's a fantastically written book about the origins of the actual tune, going with the sailors, on the ships, going all around Greenland in the North Atlantic back in the late 1800s, and musicians on board would meet some of the Greenland people, and they would stay over, and then they'd make more tunes, and then it came back to Shetland, and then Shetland then changed it around. So it's a great folk tune, and I hope you enjoy it.
I was just about to give a round of applause for the two violins, but they've disappeared already. But give them a round of applause anyway. Thanks so much for coming out. There's no rush, you can sit and...
We need another encore there.
Well, you'll have to shout a bit louder than that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I think they've gone, that's it. The bar's still open if you want to hang out for a little while. Very well. And do come again. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank
Thanks for being a super audience. Thanks for being a super audience. Gorgeous. Thank you.
like